Let's get into thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine, we're going to do something very simple. It can be very complicated, but we're going to keep it real simple. If you want to look at mobility in the thoracic spine, you can do this and you can actually seat the person. So put them in a chair. I don't have a chair with me, so just put them in a chair, have them seated, and it'll work even better because it'll isolate the thoracic spine by taking the hips out. You can have them stand and still get the same effect. We can simply put their hands behind their head and we can just have them rotate from side to side. And what you're looking to see is how much rotation they can get. So we're looking at a transverse plane motion predominantly. So how much rotation do they get? Are they limited to one side versus the other side? And the reason why you want to see them, because if someone uses their hips more, if I use my ankles and hips, I can rotate a whole lot farther than if I'm just using my thoracic spine. Okay? So that's one. Another one is I can have them simply laterally flex. I can have them reach down or I can have them reach over and see how much motion they have going side to side. Okay, so I can rotate, I can do lateral flexion. You can also do extension, and you can see that by lifting the arms. So that's another one. But I'm going to go after the lateral flexion and rotation because those are two big ones that can affect a lot of things. So lateral flexion, I can go over or I can reach down. And can they actually move in this area, not this area? So does this bend as well? Okay. I can also have them go in a laterally flexed position and then rotate them. So I can see if I laterally flex and then rotate, what happens? Is there asymmetry from side to side? Okay, so we can do a lot of different manipulations. I'm going to keep it basic. Now to address that, we can do some foam roll. So we can foam roll the erectors as we talked about using the softball. So on the side, not on the spine, but on the erector spine on the lateral aspect, we can either be standing against a wall and finding the spot and going to a spot that is very sensitive and applying pressure, or we can be lying on the floor. Lying on the floor is very difficult. Make sure that they actually use a foam roll or something to support their head, and that'll help take a pressure off, and then they can adjust the pressure with their body weight is how much they want on that focal point. Once I've gotten some sensitivity and I've reduced that slightly, I can also do cross friction, meaning I can move my body and go across the fibers of the erector spinae on that particular area. Okay, so it'll be somewhere between the upper portion of the lumbar vertebrae and the mid back. So somewhere in this region is where they're going to find some hot spots. We can also foam roll the serratus anterior fascia. So this whole area right underneath the armpit, right lateral to the chest, and right anterior to the armpit itself. So right in here, and that'll help with lateral flexion and or rotation as it frees up the fascia around the ribs and down through the lateral component, transverse plane components. Now for mobilizers, we can simply go to the limited motion and we can flex towards the front of the body in a slow rhythmical fashion, and or we can flex to the back pocket this way. Have them do that a few times and then reassess the rotation again. Okay? The other thing we can do is we can fix them in lateral flexion. They can hold on to something if you have something to hold on to, and then we can rotate in that position. Just have them rotate a few times, going the other way. Lateral flexion, rotate, rotate. Or you can fix them in both components, something up here and something across here, and then use the head in flexion and extension to go into a totally different plane of motion, and a lot of times that will free up the tissue. Okay, so those are some quick thoracic spine helpers for you, and then we'll move on.